South America, home to over 13 nations, all with their unique cultures and identities. One of the most notorious countries being Venezuela, having a bad reputation of corruption and hyperinflation. However, Venezuela was not always like this. Their history shows it could have been different for the nation and how they had good opportunities, but they wasted them too quickly. So let's take a step back and look at what made Venezuela how they are today. In the early 1800s, Venezuela was liberated, getting promised independence and fighting long, hard years for it. However, this caused an incredible mess, and many different republics were created throughout the 1800s. This would all literally go to waste in the next 5 seconds, however, as Gran Colombia was formed, taking full control of the nation. In the 1830s, Gran Colombia officially was starting to break apart, and thus Venezuela was born. Venezuela wasn't off to a great start anyways, as due to the ruthless dictatorships they had to go through, Venezuela never fully developed until later in the 20th century. Their geography consisted of lands from the Guyana region all the way to the Segovia highlands. In the 1890s, Venezuela wanted to control a region known as the British Guiana region, believing they had deserved it and it was historical land. However, it would all come down to the U.S. having to set a negotiation for them, ceding it to the British. This is still a problem that's even present today, as Venezuela still believes that they have the right to take the land, causing tensions. Despite all of these hardships in the beginning of their nation, Venezuela saw light in the tunnel. During World War I, massive oil deposits were found in the nation, giving them a huge economic boost that pushed them to be one of the richest nations in all of South America. Despite the opportunity for Venezuela to become one of the most successful nations in the world, they never ended up using this for good anyways, as the government became more and more corrupted due to the increase in wealth. And now, in the 1980s to 1990s, huge unrest began to occur once again in the nation. Oil prices began to immediately drop, and now the living standards began to decline fast. This caused many protests all over Venezuela, to which they attempted to silence. Several coups and civil wars began due to the huge amount of unrest, making Venezuela look like a dumpster fire compared to anywhere else in South America. It looked as if Venezuela had thought they had gone the wrong way and immediately made a 180-degree turn all the way to the worst. Once in the early 2000s, Venezuela had a socialist leftist political stance, causing nations like the US to declare them an official threat. However, this gave way to new nations taking liking to them. However, it didn't even work, as they didn't provide much support for the nation anyways. And one main nation that the Venezuelans seem to have everlasting tensions with is Guyana, who the Venezuelans historically claim is theirs. However, Guyana refuses to allow annexation. This new Bolivarian government caused Venezuela to be the poorest country in South America. With their incredible amounts of spending and corruption, the nation flew into hyperinflation, with disease and crime also spiking up, causing the Venezuelan refugee crisis, for over 5.6 million people fleeing the country. Overall, Venezuela had good opportunities to remain a successful nation due to their exporting of oil and already use of agriculture in their economy. However, due to the prices dropping and corruption thriving and not being able to take advantage of the new wealth, Venezuelan economy simply failed. And with nations creating now new embargoes, drug trafficking of Colombia, and shortages of basic human needs made them a huge example of wasted potential in South America. Venezuela is desperately trying to make progress in the right direction, and it is being made. However, the Venezuelan economy and government still has a long way to go until it's restored to its former glory, and from then on, we can only hope.